Okay, Masha, you could start.
Great, thank you. Good morning, everybody. This is Marcia Mayetta. I'm the Director of Animal Care and Control for the County of Los Angeles, and I'd like to thank you for attending our presentation about some upcoming changes to our Adoption Partner Program. We're presenting this to our adoption partners to give you an opportunity to ask any questions or get clarification on some of these changes or any other parts of the program that you would like to ask questions about. I'd like to mention that this is being recorded, so it will be put on YouTube later for those that are unable to attend this meeting, so everybody can have the opportunity to hear what's being presented. We're going to be reviewing changes that are reflecting changes to legal requirements and implementing some better best practices for the department that will help the adoption partners and the department just be more collaborative and more efficient in our work together in helping animals. And we will be taking questions. We're asking you to put those into the chat, and we will take the questions at the end with a roundtable. So next, I would like to introduce the team that you'll be interacting with. That's, of course, me with my dogs, and I'd like to give a shout out to Great Pyrenees Rescue of Southern California for 3 of the dogs in that photo, and our golden came from our Lancaster Care Center. Also, who will be presenting today is Harold Holmes, our department's executive assistant, who's worked on the legal changes on the contracts. Casey Mesa, who I think you have worked with, who is our Adoption Partner Program liaison. Also presenting is Chris Serrar, our Deputy Director for West County Operations, and he's over the Adoption Partner Program. And also, if you haven't met him before, I wanted you to be aware that Chris Valles is the Animal Control Manager who directly oversees the Adoption Partner Program. These are folks that you'll most commonly be interacting with as an adoption partner. And then I'd like to talk to you about some of the services that we provide. Some of you may be aware of this, some may not. You know, DACC is one of the largest animal care and control agencies in the nation. We operate 7 animal care centers throughout Los Angeles County. We serve all unincorporated Los Angeles County, as well as 45 cities within LA County. Actually, one is in Ventura County that contract with us for animal care and control services. We operate 24/7, and we are seeing an increase in admissions, particularly dogs that I think you're aware of. You are probably seeing those in your rescue groups as well. And this is something that we're seeing nationwide, just as people are dealing with the effects of the economy and other reasons. Animal shelters are seeing more animals coming into the care centers. So what we do is work with our Pets Our Family program, which is the last bullet point on this slide. Our Pets Our Family program does a lot of interactive intervention services to help people keep their pets with them. And then moving on, I'm going to talk a little bit about the department's operational philosophy. The department follows the socially conscious animal sheltering philosophy, and we do that because we want to make sure that we are being as responsive to the unique needs of our communities as possible. Every community is different. Their animal needs are different. Their opportunities for adoptions are different. It can vary by regions. It can vary by, even within the county, by our care centers. So we're always as flexible as possible and looking at ways we can best interact with our communities and meet the needs of the communities where they're at. We do a lot of this through operating an alternatives to admission program, which is where we talk to people who are surrendering or considering surrendering their pets and trying to find options for them, whether if we can assist them with vouchers to get services like veterinary services or temporary boarding or something that will help them keep their pets during a temporary crisis and then not have to surrender them to an animal care center. We also have a food bank for animals. These are all parts of our Pets Our Family program, but we can give them food to help them keep the animals in their home. We often refer them to our adoption partners if they are trying to rehome a pet, and we know a rescue group that's able to take an animal like the one that they have, and so forth. And by doing that, we can reduce admissions into our care centers and focus our very limited resources on those animals truly that have no other options and must be admitted, because we have very limited resources, both in services and supplies and staffing, and we need to be as effective and efficient as possible in focusing those on the animals most truly in need. We also manage our population, our animal population, very carefully. We do not allow overcrowding to the point where animals become behaviorally unstable, or we have disease outbreaks, or they're housed in conditions that are uh, not optimal for them. We don't allow them to be kept in crates in hallways. They are kept in proper animal housing areas where they can self-exercise, where they can eliminate properly without contaminating their food or water or sleeping areas. And we want to make sure that we're providing the good standard of care for the animals in our animal care centers. And we manage our population through looking at our capacity for care, both our number of available cages as well as our staffing levels, and are we able to provide the level of care that these animals need. We review their length of stay at the care centers, and our animal care center leadership teams every week have length of stay meetings where they look at the animals in the care centers, who's been here a significant enough length of time that they really need to start finding options for these animals. And that's when they start reaching out to adoption partners with notifications that these animals need to be adopted, or they may face euthanasia. And our primary concern is the well-being of the animals, and we want to provide the best care for them possible in our care centers, and then use every possible means to find live outcomes for them when we are able to, which is, every opportunity that we can get, keeping in mind public safety and animal welfare. Next, I'd like to turn this over to Deputy Director Chris Serrar, who's going to talk about the Adoption Partner Program specifically. Thank you.
Thank you, Marcia. Good morning, everybody. So going over the Adoption Partner Program, our adoption partners are 501c3 organizations that operate for the purpose of animal rescue or adoption, and these adoption partners are vetted and approved by the department through a specific process, which we'll get into a little bit later on in this presentation. Currently, DACC collaborates with over 250 adoption partners to help place animals in forever homes. Our goal is to hopefully increase that number and really continue to grow that number to increase those outcomes to those positive homes. Our APs or adoption partners more so assist by taking the animals who have special needs or require extensive medical care. They might also need to rehabilitate some of the animals prior to being able to place them in a home. As rescues know, and our adoption partners deal with quite frequently, we get a spectrum of animals that come through our doors, and so by partnering with these rescues, our adoption partners, we're able to find a lot better placement and be able to meet the needs of the animals. At the bottom of the slide, we also have a link that gives us additional details, which I'll place in the chat here as well. For reference for our adoption partner program, everything that is needed, our current list of adoption partners, as well as different information for the adoption partner program. Moving on, we go over our adoption partner statistics for last year, for the fiscal year 2023 and 24. And our adoption partners had a very significant impact in our live releases out of the care centers. 46% of all cat adoptions and 24% of all dog adoptions were done by our adoption partners. That's a little over 2,700 cats and 3,000 dogs total. I think we all are on the same page. We'd love to see those numbers increase and those percentages increase. And by finding ways to add more adoption partners and bringing more on board, we're very hopeful to increase that number. Moving forward, I'd like to turn this over to Harold Holmes. He can go over primary program changes.
Thank you, Chris. Good morning, everyone. Some of the significant changes that we've seen in the program are, first, that we're going to have a formal 3-year contract with all of our adoption partners. And this adds protection both for the adoption partner organization as well as the county. And the 3-year contract can be renewed indefinitely, so we're certainly not limiting anyone to a 3-year term. We just have to have a finite ending date on a contract. So we hope to enjoy long-term relationships with all of our partners. Now, the insurance requirement that we're talking about is that we want our adoption partners to have workers' compensation insurance, but that only applies to a very few of you, if any of you at all. Unless you have employees, you probably don't need it, but you should consult with your own legal advisor to determine what the requirements are for your organization. We only require liability insurance for those rescues that are taking animals that have known history of aggression. So while we highly recommend that every organization have its own liability insurance, it's only required for those adoption partners that are taking those particular dogs. In the past, we've had commitments to adopt and commitments to transport, and we're trying to move animals through the process more quickly. So now we are making animals available to adoption partners at the same time that they're available to the public. So any animal that is classified ready to go home is also available immediately to an adoption partner. And when an adoption partner says, yes, I want that dog, I need some time to get someone there to pick it up, we give them until the end of the day, and we'll hold that animal for them until the end of that day so they can arrange transport. Also, in the event that we have some dispute or there's an allegation that one of our adoption partners has not complied with the terms of our agreement, and we may seek to take some type of disciplinary action, the partner now has a formal process by which they can dispute the department's actions or the department's findings, and that will be done in writing so that there is a definite opportunity to provide any evidence or opinion that may be contrary to the department's action, and that will be reviewed by the director, who will make a decision. If there are any questions about other changes, I'll be happy to answer those later on in the presentation during Q&A. Thank you.
Hello, thank you, Harold. I'm going to be talking about the Adoption Partner Program benefits. When you become an adoption partner, there are a variety of different benefits that you will gain, such as discounted adoption fees, and also privilege to be able to adopt animals not available to the public. You will also be able to receive DACC notifications and be able to help more animals with special needs. Again, those that we more than likely can't place out to the public, but adoption partners, you guys will be able to help us with those special need animals. I'm going to continue to talk about what the requirements are going to be and what, will make you eligible to become a partner. So One of the things is you must be a nonprofit corporation, meaning you are a 501c3 and in good standing with all applicable federal and state agencies. You must be organized and operate for the purpose of animal rescue or adoptions, have no founded criminal or administrative violations regarding animals. You must also be in compliance with all law relating to animals and maintain workers' compensation insurance as required by law. Also, one of the requirements is you must complete and submit the application from the adoption partner program and with all the required documents. Some of the documents that are going to be required upon submission is going to be the 3-year contract signed and returned. That is something you're going to be receiving from the administration of the program. You would also need to fill out the adoption partner information sheet, transport agent list. That's somebody who you're going to be having come to the care center and pull animals for you on your behalf. And then also proof of general liability insurance. Now, this only pertains to those who intend on adopting animals known with a history of aggression. Again, I am available via email. If you have any questions on how to become a partner, I'm more than happy to help guide you through this whole process, because I understand it can be lengthy and intimidating, but I'm here to help. Thank you.
Thank you, Gacy. So what I'd like to do is let you know what the next steps are. First, we're having this meeting, and we're going to have another one next week to get any input or answer questions for the adoption partners. The next steps, ultimately, this contract will be taken to the Board of Supervisors for approval because the board approves all county contracts. So the steps to get to the board is the next step is to take this to what's called the Community Services Cluster meeting. The Department of Animal Care and Control is in a group called the Community Services Cluster, which is a group of county departments that provide community services like parks or beaches or public works and so forth. So animal services is one of those. So these meetings consist of representatives from the board offices called board deputies who come and meet to hear the issues regarding each department, as well as representatives from the chief executive office who support these departments. And this is where we present department changes, items that are going to be going before the Board of Supervisors and so forth. So the next community services cluster that we are targeting is November 20th. That this is still flexible, but that's our target date. And then subsequent to that, we will target getting this to the board agenda on the 17th. I think these are two possible dates up there that are shown. It could be actually either of those. We could be going on the cluster November 20th or December 4th for subsequent Board of Supervisors meetings. And how you can stay informed about that is to go to the website that is written there below, which covers all the agendas, and you can see exactly there where we will fall on those dates. You can also reach out to Gacy if you'd like some updates about that. So those are the next steps, tentatively speaking. We hope to have this wrapped up by the end of the year. So that is the steps. And then I just wanted to, again, thank you for your all your help. You guys do support us tremendously by adopting animals who need special care, attention, or just additional opportunities for adoption because the animals just haven't been really seen or noticed at the animal care centers. So we're really, really appreciative of the efforts you put in taking these animals and finding them forever homes. We're always welcoming volunteers at the care centers or fosters who want to take animals into their home for temporary care, usually medical, sometimes behavioral reasons to get them better suited for adoption. And we accept donations for animal care and well-being, both directly to the department or through the Animal Care Foundation, LA County Animal Care Foundation, which is the nonprofit supporting foundation that supports the department's efforts. And they have supported a great many medical, adoption, and well-being programs for the animals in our care centers. And then I think I'm going to wrap it up there and turn this over to Chris Serrar, who will mention any comments or questions that came through the chat and direct those for being answered.
Thank you, Marcia. And thank you, everybody, for attending. I do have a few questions that are in the chat. First question is, are we expected to reapply for this partnering status? How do I check my P number to see if we are active? Casey, can you answer that?
So you are not expected to reapply. I'm going to be sending out a contract to everybody who is active in our system as an adoption partner. And if you wanted to confirm whether or not you're still active, you can reach out to me via email, and I'll check for you.
Thank you, Casey. Why is there a 3-year time limit on the adoption partner agreement? Harold, can you answer that?
Sure. The County of Los Angeles has limitations on the duration of all of its contracts. No kind of contract can exceed 5 years in length, but we can renew our contracts with our adoption partners indefinitely. We chose a 3-year time limit for these agreements, trying to strike a balance between everybody's desire to have some stability and consistency and not making it so long that people would be intimidated and not want to make such a long-term commitment.
Thank you. Why are there restrictions on partner organizations that are not located in Los Angeles County or even California?
I can take that. Yeah, I can take that one. While the department's law enforcement jurisdiction is limited to the unincorporated areas of the county and the cities that we provide service to, our relationship with our adoption partners is not a law enforcement agency regulating businesses. Our relationship with our partners is a voluntary, civil, contractual partnership. And we want to attract and partner with reputable organizations that care as much as we do about the animals to which we provide service. So we partner only with organizations that are willing to follow all of the laws that apply to their operations wherever they may be located. Now, one thing I do want to point out finally is that the California State Attorney General requires that all foreign corporations, that is any out-of-state nonprofit corporation doing business in California, must register with their office. And of course, if you partner with our department, then you're obviously doing business in California because you're doing business in Los Angeles County.
Thank you, Harold. Why does DACC include inspection authority for partner organizations that are not located in Los Angeles County or even in California? Harold?
Oh, we have one boilerplate contract agreement that doesn't specify the jurisdiction in which our partner is located. So we don't have specific contracts for specific jurisdictions. And while we typically don't go visit places outside of Los Angeles County, that inspection clause is still important. The ability to inspect any operation provides an incentive to that organization to always perform at a level it can be proud of and that meets our expectations for animal welfare. Now, although the reality is we rarely have time to make visits that are not complaint driven, the fact that an organization is willing to have an open door policy for us or their local animal control agency is reassuring that it values transparency and that it maintains standards for the care of animals that meet our mutual expectations.
Thank you. Why does DACC require a disaster plan for partner organizations that are not located in Los Angeles County or California? Harold?
Yeah, I can take that one as well. Sorry. Having a disaster plan is essential for any animal housing facility, regardless of where it's located. Fires, floods, earthquakes, hurricanes or even tornadoes don't just happen in Los Angeles County. Every region across the country has its own unique potential for some form of either natural or man-made disaster, and those things can necessitate an emergency evacuation to save the lives of animals in any organization's care. We have seen in the past tragic results when the lack of an effective plan resulted in the preventable, horrific deaths of multiple animals. We want to ensure that our animals are going to organizations that have planned for those types of emergencies and are ready to prevent the needless suffering and that loss of life.
Thank you. Why does DACC care if partner organizations have insurance? I think you, Harold, might have touched on this in the presentation, but can you elaborate?
Sure. We're only requiring workers' compensation insurance if it's required by law wherever you are. So essentially, we're only asking that you follow the laws that apply. In California, that I would expect that very few actually will need it, but it's important to check on that. Now, as for the liability insurance, the department only requires it when the adoption partner is adopting an animal, usually a dog, that poses a higher risk of causing harm than those animals that are identified as adoptable, those with a known history of aggression. And only when adopting an animal that requires liability, an indemnification waiver, or one that's identified as F is the liability insurance required. In those cases, the department has seen a higher potential for litigation and has been subjected to litigation in the past because oftentimes the county is seen as having the deeper pocket and more likely to be able to pay a large settlement than an adoption partner organization. So the insurance policy helps to insulate both the county and the adoption partner organization from the financial burdens of extensive litigation.
Why does DACC want to see the adoption partners organizations adoption or foster agreements? Harold?
The issues addressed in any contract usually exist to prevent either an anticipated dispute or one that's occurred in the past. And in the past, our department has been involved in a situation in which the terms of those agreements or the lack thereof created legal disputes over either the status of an animal or the ownership of an animal or liability for something that the animal was involved in. And so we're trying to ensure that our partner organizations actually have adequate written agreements in place. Now, we are certainly not qualified to give legal opinions or legal advice as to the content of those documents. So we're primarily trying to make sure that they have these in place, and we certainly don't want to substitute for having the partner's legal advisor, and we highly recommend that they have their own legal advisor review them.
Thank you. Why did DACC do away with one-time pools? Harold?
Sure, I'll take that. One-time pools were those instances where an adoption partner allowed a person not known to the department to adopt an animal on their behalf. The department's experience has been that the exception has consumed the rule. It oftentimes became easier to rely on transport agents, or pullers as we used to call them, who happened to be handy at the moment rather than utilizing people who had been vetted or were known to be trustworthy. And we found that all too often, in addition to the department not knowing anything about the person coming or the quality of the vehicle or anything that they had, that often the adoption partner organization was acting without having vetted them either on blind trust or secondhand knowledge, and even occasionally out of just a sense of urgency to find someone to pick up an animal. Having those urgent situations where people aren't known endangers the animals potentially. And so it led us to unvetted transport agents acting on their own and even adopting animals using an adoption partner's name without the adoption partner giving consent or even knowing about the adoption. And so that creates liability both for the partner organizations, for our adoption partners, as well as the department. And so we want to make sure that people are acting on the partner organization's behalf and that they're authorized to do so, and that they've been checked out so that we know that they're trustworthy and that the animals will be safe.
Thank you. So given the limited number now of transport agents for each partner organization, why does DACC need a signature for each animal adopted? Harold?
The department's goal is to keep the number of people representing each partner organization at a level that can be effectively managed both by our staff in the department and by the AP organization. Our past experience has shown that not keeping the list of people authorized to transport or act on behalf of an organization updated and manageable results in confusion, and that creates an opportunity for animals to be lost when someone uses the name of an AP without the AP's authorization or even knowledge. This is also the reason why we need a signature for each animal that's adopted. That way we know exactly who is authorizing and who is taking title to the animal. All too frequently, well-intentioned people attempt to adopt animals in the name of an AP without the AP's knowledge. And in those cases, neither the department nor the AP is able to determine where the animal went or if it's being subjected to substandard living conditions. It's only after a group of animals or a single animal is unable to be located on the monthly reports for an organization that we're able to figure out that they've been lost, and by then it's too late to help them. And that's why we require signatures from now on and identification of the people adopting animals.
Thank you. Similar to the question above, if the adoption partner has given written notification, for instance, email, that about pulling the animal, why does DACC need a signature for each animal adopted? Harold, can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, I can take that one too. Sorry.
Thank you.
Unfortunately, we live in a reality of a very litigious and technologically fragile world. And in order to fully protect both the partner organization and the county, we need an actual signature on a document that describes the legal transaction taking place. Unfortunately, emails can be hijacked, hacked, or even altered, so they're not sufficient legal documentation. We implemented this change based on the need to provide adequate evidence of the legal transfer of title of those animals that are being adopted.
Thank you. Once an animal is out of the county's system, it is no longer their responsibility. Why does the department not allow adoption partner to adoption partner or other rescue transfers? Harold, can you take that one?
Sure. The department's mission is to maximize the placement of animals that come into its care, either with their owner, their current or previous owner, or into a new caring home. Being passed from one cage to another is not an acceptable quality of life for any animal. And being bounced from one foster to another also reinforces that perception of abandonment in the animal, and that doesn't enhance the bond with humans, and it doesn't protect or help their adoptability in the future. So often animals that are adopted by adoption partners are not adoptable to the general public. They're special needs animals that have need for specific training or medical treatment. Transferring those animals to rescues that are not trusted partners that meet our agreed upon standards may be setting them up for failure. These straw purchases, types of adoptions, they evade the protections that we've established in our program to ensure the well-being of our animals. But when it's in the best interest of the animal involved, the department does consider and may approve transfers to other adoption partner rescues. Those just have to be specifically approved in advance.
Thank you, Harold. Just a few more questions in the chats. If you're already partnered with LA County, how does the 3-year contract apply? I believe we went over that already. in the previous question. Anything to add, Harold, Casey?
Nothing for me. I think Gacy did a good job. She may want to reiterate that.
Thank you. No, nothing additional applies. It's just basically once this goes into effect, I'm going to be sending an email to each individual partner. You're going to sign it. I want to say it's basically I'm going to fill everything in, like your name, address, but you're just going to sign it that you agree to the contract and send it back to me. But nothing extra.
Thank you, Casey. Some animals are not being fixed before leaving the shelter. Any support to rescues to get this done? They're stating age and medical is the reason. Regardless, they can still reproduce. Dr. Slor, would you be able to take that question?
I can. Hello, Dr. Slor, Senior Veterinarian for North County. Because of age and other medical issues here at the ACCs, our DVMs will make the assessment on whether or not an animal can get fixed. So we do have the care voucher program that might be able to assist with that at our outside vets, as well as our spay and neuter voucher program. So once these animals are getting adopted, or if they are still within our jurisdiction, we do have programs that we can reach out to for assistance at private vendors so that these animals could potentially get deferred. And we've had that where private veterinarians will do additional diagnostics and send us information on why animals can be deferred. So yes, we have the spay and neuter voucher program and the care voucher program.
Thank you, Dr. Slor. There are rescues not in the program that are pulling multiple dogs out under adoptions with no accountability. How can we fix this? Harold, can you answer that one?
I'm not sure I understood that. Can you say that again?
Sure. There are rescues not in the program, so not adoption partners, that are pulling multiple dogs out under adoptions, basically from the care centers, with no accountability. How can we fix this? I think you might have touched on this about, even AP to AP transfers. Similar question about the protections that the AP program places about vetting rescue groups.
Yes, we definitely prefer to partner with organizations that have established their credibility and their high standards. However, in some cases, we do adopt animals out to other nonprofit organizations, just like we would to the public. We do our best to make sure that that adoption is a good match, just like we would with a member of the public. But it is true that we lack the ability to follow up with them, and so we prefer to work with adoption partners, and that's one of the benefits of having that partnership, is that we have trust and confidence that animals are going to good places.
Thank you, Harold. Until the new contract is approved, is everything else still in effect? I believe in reference to the current adoption partner rules and regulations. Harold or Gacy?
Yes. So everything else is still in effect, but at least you guys now have more or less a draft of what it is that we will be implementing, hopefully within the next few months. But everything's the same as of now.
Thank you, Gacy. Another question: is one contract applicable at all shelter centers? And if so, does each shelter require a list of authorized pullers? Gacy?
It is for all of the care centers. So as an adoption partner, we have 7 different care centers that you are able to go to and pull animals from. And so that contract applies to all. And each care center does not have their own pull list for you. Whoever you have on there is for all 7.
Thank you. Yeah. And just to clarify, this contract is good for all of the 7 care centers, and this is for LA County in particular. There's a comment, I think, in reference to the spay neuter question that Dr. Slower is answering, that the vouchers are not for rescues. Any comment on that, Dr. Slower?
Oh, I'm sorry. That's correct. I was looking forward to when they are adopted out, right? Like when you have a constituent that's needing of assistance.
Correct. But still,
You know-
adoption partners. Sorry, go ahead, Marcia.
Oh, Chris, I wanted to jump in. This is Marcia. If their dogs or cats, mostly dogs, are being adopted under deferral because they can't be spayed or neutered yet, you can always bring them back, and we will do it. Just make an appointment after the animal has been cured of whatever condition it may have had. And if you are in, say, for example, you pull the animal from the Antelope Valley, either Palmdale or Lancaster, but you live closer to Downey, we can work out a way to get that animal into the Downey spay neuter clinic for you, so you don't have to make the trip back up to where you adopted it from. I also wanted to comment on the question about the rescues that are adopting that aren't adoption partners. They are treated as members of the public, and there are limits that should be imposed because they are considered members of the public. We will be tracking those, and if you're aware of anybody who may be, in your mind, trying to care for more animals than they can properly care for and maybe exceeding their capacity for care, please let us know and we will work with them. We can always suspend adoptions until they can get into a manageable number. We don't want to see our animals wind up in hoarding situations or, as been discussed before, getting passed around into substandard or questionable situations. So, you know, we do take those things seriously, and we will want to know about them. Thank you.
Thank you, Marcia. And just to even elaborate on the spay neuter, that's why we do have trust deposits that are done for private adoptions as well as our rescue partners. But keep in mind too, we do have policy, and we do have the ability that if you're in good standing for 6 months or longer as an adoption partner with us, you can submit to have your trust deposit waived as a rescue group. And it just takes contacting DACC to work out the details, and then she vets the adoption partner record, and then we can move forward with that too. And at this time, we do not have any additional questions. I'd like to thank everybody for joining this town hall meeting and providing great questions and allowing us to provide feedback. With that, we will conclude the town hall. Thank you, everyone, and have a great day.